I love Kirby music. I can't overstate how much I love nearly every one of this Puffball's OSTs, and how ingrained many of these songs are in my mind. And this love of Kirby music has only gotten stronger as I've gotten older and learned to understand music more greatly. The theory behind nearly every Kirby tune is just so amazing and colorful. Now, there's a tradition of sorts that spans the soundtracks of many Kirby games that I want to talk about. And it's not Green Greens, it's nothing to do with DDD's theme, it's the reappearance of this tune from Kirby's Dream Land. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, I knew that, but I'm not convinced you're aware of quite how deep Float Island's references go. Jun Ishikawa, composer of Float Islands and many Kirby songs, always seems to throw Float Islands in every Kirby game he works on. In some of these tunes, the ways he references Float Islands is so subtle that I begin to question the motive behind this tradition, because the average listener will likely not even be able to catch it. What I'm trying to say is, it feels like they included this for me, and other musician Kirby fans specifically, and that's just so amazing. Anyways, let's start off with an analysis on Float Islands, and what makes what I'll be calling a Float Islands derivation for future songs. I personally think a song needs to fill 3 boxes to really be a derivation of Float Islands. One of these can be found right at the start of the tune. First, you gotta have chords moving stepwise in a major key. In Float Islands, that's F major 7 to G minor 7 to A minor 7 to G minor 7, and then back. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. This is a very relaxing and easygoing chord progression, with no strong movement. For example, Green Greens uses 5th movement in its chords, which gives it a very heroic and strong vibe, whereas Float Islands' stepwise chords give a nice day at the beach sort of vibe. Now, the second box that I consider a requirement to be a Float Islands derivation can be found in the B section of this tune. The B section moves to the 4 chord and has this 4 to 3 movement. In Float Islands, that's B flat major 7 to A minor 7. I've talked about this progression more in this video, but it's very common in video game music. The third and final thing that most Float Islands derivations have is a key change at some point in the B section. In this case, it's a movement up a minor third from the key of F major to the key of A flat major. In Float Islands and many of these tunes, this key change is accompanied by a repetition of what was played before, now in the new key. So for Float Islands, that's B flat major 7 to A minor 7, becoming D flat major 7 to C minor 7, and also repeating the melody. Now, I'd be silly not to mention that sick key changes in the B sections of Kirby tunes is absolutely not exclusive to Float Islands derivations. Hell, a key change up a minor third is in Green Greens, but I want to mention it because of the ways other tunes directly reference this particular key change found in Float Islands. Some other things that reappear in a lot of these tunes that I'm not going to spend time mentioning each time are a short drum fill intro, a 4-bar intro on stepwise chords ending with rhythmic chord stabs, this 3-3-2 rhythm, and of course playing in a watery level. Now, it's worth mentioning that Float Islands is also the source of another line of Kirby and Smash Bros. Tunes, the rest area. The rest area takes the B section of Float Islands, slows it down, and pretties it up. The rest area is vitally the first time we see a natural 9 on top of the 3 chord in one of these derivations, which is just so cool. The natural 9 on the 3 chord, in this case F sharp over an E minor chord, is out of the key of C major, which gives it some really cool color. This choice of extension will reappear in other tunes. Alongside a direct remix of Float Islands, Kirby Superstar also has this tune called Orange Ocean, which plays during the Revenge of Meta Knight mode. This tune opens with a direct reference to the B section of Float Islands before becoming its own thing. This intro actually introduces some really important ideas that will be utilized way later in the tune, so let's go over it real quick. 1. This is another instance of the natural 9 on the 3 chord, which is once again cool. And at the end of this intro, we get these crazy chord stabs. The rhythm of these stabs is clearly in reference to the chord stabs at the end of Float Islands' intro. These chords are what's called a tritone substitution, which is when you replace a dominant 5 chord with the dominant chord a tritone away. In this case, we replace both the 5 chord and the 2 chord with tritone substitutions, and then squeeze in a 5 chord after that. This is no normal 5 chord though, this is an augmented chord, which raises the 5th of the chord a half step, which is an uncommon but cool substitution for the 5 chord. After that, this tune has these stepwise chords. Check. These chords go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, and then that 5 augmented chord returns. After this, we can check our second Float Islands box, because in the B section, we go to a 4 to 3. And lastly, we check our third box with that exact Float Islands modulation up a minor third in the second half of the B section, moving from the key of F major to A flat major once again. But holy shit, the chords here get far more adventurous than the simple repetition of Float Islands. In our new key of A flat, we go from a B flat minor 7, step up to a C minor 7, and then step up again to an extremely colorful and out of key D minor 7. Seemingly just for the hell of it, this D minor 7 voice leads very nicely down to the actually in key D flat major 7 sharp 11, or the 4 in A flat major. This D flat chord, instead of going anywhere we might have expected, turns minor, becoming a D flat minor 7. At this point, we're likely an entire tritone away from our original key of F major, and wait! A tritone substitution, which is when you replace a dominant 5 chord with the dominant chord a tritone away. Yeah, this D flat minor 7 is the same chord we use in our intro, and just like our intro, we go to a G flat 7, and then squeeze in a normal C7 chord to loop. When I first realized that this seemingly unexpected D flat minor 7 was actually first introduced in the intro, I think my brain expanded to new sizes. The way Jun Ishikawa takes us further and further in order to get back to this is so ridiculously clever that I had to talk about it in a video. Ripple Field from Dreamland 3 may stretch the definition of a Float Islands derivation for some people, but I'd still like to talk about it. This one actually opens with our 4 to 3 movement back and forth, so there's one box checked. The melody focuses on the 9s and 7s of these 4 and 3 chords, this being our third instance of that natural 9 on the 3 chord, which might be even cooler this time because the melody sits on it for 4 beats, just adding so much color and tension before falling down to the 2 chord for a nice 2-5-1. This time, the 5 chord is substituted for the 4 chord over the 5th of the scale, which is a common substitution for the 5 chord in fusion and gospel music and gives way to a softer resolution than a usual 5-7. After a repeat, this section ends with this fake out, with a 2-5 that instead of going to 1, goes to this flat 6, flat 7, 1. But this isn't your usual Mario cadence. The upper chord stays largely the same across the flat 6 and flat 7, with only the bass moving up, making that flat 7 chord an A flat over B flat, which resolves to C. This resolution is so cool for so many reasons. This chord is the same shape as our F over G, and as such implies a resolution to E flat, just like our F over G resolved to C. But instead, this A flat over B flat goes up to C major 9, rather than down to E flat major, giving a really colorful and bright sound. Even further, because this is A flat over B flat instead of B flat major, it lacks a third. This lets that 9 in the C major 9 hit even harder, as that E flat and C and the A flat over B flat resolve to the D. Gorgeous. Now, the B section at first seems to have the Float Islands key change, up a minor third, with this 2, 5, and E flat. Check. But we get this crazy subversion where instead of an E flat major, we get an E minor, which then goes to some chords winding around in C major, but refusing to land on C major. I love this moment right here where we go to a dominant A7 chord instead of A minor, and the melody screams up an octave on this F major 7 chord. It's so good. After that, we go to a 5 chord, which again refuses to resolve to C, going to an E minor chord instead. Then another A7, which actually resolves more expectedly to D minor. That D minor steps up to E minor, which steps up to F major. There's that other Float Islands box checked. I told you I was stretching the definition on this one. This then sets up the clearest resolution to C yet, with a 2-5 at the end of the phrase. But June is going to keep us waiting for that resolution a bit longer by bringing back that A flat major 7 to A flat over B flat to C. And it's just as beautiful as the first time we heard it, if not even more. Very keen fans of the channel may know I called this song the, quote, greatest stream of audio ever created. And yeah, I was spitting. Let's check the boxes real quick. The A section has stepwise chords, in this case 2 to 3 repeatedly, and then a nice 2-5-1 to finish each phrase. And the first go through the B section has the exact same chord progression as Float Islands, except with more extensions. Check, check, and check. Now, let's get into the cool shit. I don't need to tell you that this melody is perfect. I love how it opens right on that 9th of the D minor chord. Gives the melody so much color just right out of the gate. And I love how in the B section, instead of moving the entire B section melody up a minor third like in Float Islands, the G remains constant between both keys, acting as the 9th of the 4 chord in C major, and the major 7th of the 4 chord in E flat major. Very clever stuff. Now for the really cool stuff. Unlike some other Float Islands derivations, this one plays the B section twice, or so we think, as we quickly find out this is more of a C section. This new section first plays this phrase in C major, then repeats it in D flat major, then reimagines it again in the shocking key of G major. These quick tonicizations are so cool and memorable. Let's get into it. We move by a half step to the key of D flat by way of a secondary dominant. A secondary dominant is when a chord that isn't the 1 chord gets its very own dominant chord. In this case, it's the 4 chord of D flat major getting its very own dominant, D flat 7 going to G flat major 7. Rather than move up another half step to the key of D with another secondary dominant, and what is perhaps my favorite moment of the entire tune, we jump a tritone away to the key of G major. And he doesn't do this with a 5 chord, he quite literally does the 4 to 3 in D flat, and then a 4 to 3 in G. How does this work? Well, the 3 chord in D flat is F minor 7, and F minor 7 is the minor 4 chord in C major. That F minor 7 retroactively acts as a minor 4 to 1 to the C major chord. The restraint from Jun Ishikawa to not put a secondary dominant here and just let the magic that is F minor 7 to C major 7 happen is just perfect. This one sets itself apart from the rest in a couple of key ways. It definitely is still a derivation of Float Islands in my opinion, but it twists the formula for sure. For starters, unlike every other tune I've mentioned, this one is felt at a slower tempo. This hides the fact that the A section has almost the exact Float Islands chord progression we've familiarized ourselves with. 1 to 2 to 3 to 2. Check. Now, here's the fun part. When we reach the B section, we go to our 4 chord, followed by a 3 chord. Check, but brace yourself. This B section is about to take the stepwise identity of Float Islands and push it to its limits. Firstly, this 3 chord marks the 4th time we've seen a natural 9 on top of the 3 chord. And I know I said it was cool in Ripple Field, but holy shit, it's even cooler here. This is a bona fide E minor 9 chord. The melody hits the 9, the accompaniment hits the 9, and this insistence on the F sharp really makes us feel like we're somewhere completely new. This chord steps down again, not to a D minor chord, but to an E flat minor 7 chord, taking us even further from where we started. One thing I love about this chord is that it actually isn't a minor 9 chord, which lets the melody stay on that F sharp between the E minor 9 and the E flat minor 7. In true Float Islands fashion, this E flat minor 7 steps down to our new one of D flat major 9. Check. This doesn't last long, as this D flat major 7 steps down to a B major 7, technically C flat major 7. And this steps down chromatically to a B flat major 7. Now, how are we possibly going to return to our key of C major in order to loop at this point? Well, that B flat major 7 moves up a 4th to E flat major 7, which is a very natural 1 to 4 movement. And then we step that E flat major 7 down to a D minor 7. This D minor 7 is both the 3 chord in B flat and vitally the 2 chord in our original key of C. This is called a pivot chord modulation, when you use a chord that belongs to both the old and new key in order to bridge them. Of course, this D minor 7 goes to a G7, which goes back to C to return to our A section. For the last tune of today's video, I have to talk about the newest instance of this, and perhaps one of the most overtly Float Islands of the bunch, Abandoned Beach from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This tune has so many direct Float Islands isms, especially in its melodic construction, but for this analysis I'll mostly be talking about the chords. This one opens with a very clear homage to the intro of Float Islands, but with some fun twists. Rather than going up and down with this consistent harmonic rhythm, it goes up to the 2 and holds on it for most of the phrase, and then does the same coming down from the 3. After that, it goes up and down with a more steady harmonic rhythm, and does those classic stabs straight out of Float Islands. The A section is our classic 1 to 2 to 3 to 2 to 1 loop. Check. But this tune does something really fun with the classic Float Islands B section. So we go up to the 4, check. But instead of going directly to the 3, we first go to this 2 half diminished chord, which this tune uses throughout as a sort of substitute for the 5 chord. Then the 3, then the 6 dominant, which naturally goes to a 2, to a 5, to a 1, and then to a 6, and then the progression loops. Eagle-eared viewers may have come to the same conclusion I did when I first started analyzing this tune. They took the B section of Float Islands and turned it into the classic Royal Road progression found in many Japanese pop tunes across many forms of media. I love this choice. I'd like to think Jun Ishikawa was bored of writing 4-3 on the B section after all these years, and just said fuck it, anime intro. Now, you might be saying, wait, if the B section resolves so definitively to 1, then how are we gonna get our modulation up a minor third partway through the B section? Oh, there it is. This part is actually more reminiscent of our classic Float Islands B section, going back and forth between the 4 and the 3 within our new key of A flat. Check. But Jun Ishikawa is not done with key changes yet. He goes up another minor third to the key of B. I'm not doing C flat this time, I don't wanna, it's a key change, we can swap to fucking sharps, let's kick them off. This starts a series of 2/5s descending in whole steps, each new 2/5 turning what was the 1 chord from major to minor, in order to become the 2 chord of the next 2/5. This sort of pattern always reminds me of the jazz standard How High the Moon, which does this exact thing throughout. We do this until we land in the key of G major. Then, for whatever reason, we do a 2/5 going to C. But we don't go to C. We go from this G chord straight to this blindingly bright F major 7 sharp 11 sound, which for a moment sounds like the 4 chord in C, especially given the sharp 11 in the melody. But this goes back to that G half diminished, and then back to our original 1 chord, F. This tune goes so many places, and it really reads to me as Jun Ishikawa just having a ton of fun with the Float Islands formula. Beyond Float Islands, I hope this video showed you some of the reasons I adore Kirby music so much, and why I said it just gets better the more you know about theory. I promise you can dig into these tunes even more thoroughly, and find even more chestnuts of theory and creativity that I didn't mention. There are definitely more tunes that reference Float Islands that I didn't cover, like Reef Resort and Kirby Star Allies, Bountiful Star and Planet Robobot, and Float Islands remixes in games like Kirby Air Ride and Canvas Curse. But I wanted this video to actually be a reasonable length, so I decided to leave some out. I'd like to end this video with my very own Float Islands derivation that checks all the boxes that I've arbitrarily set. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.